4 drivers remain in our mid-season bracket. But to make the final, they'll have to tame a monster. Welcome to round 8 of the BSR AMSOIL Truck Series 4 Season 7, live from Dover Motor Speedway on JCTV. Opened in 1969, Dover is one of the few concrete tracks left in the NASCAR calendar, being repaid from asphalt in 1995. That durable surface still remains to this day, with just some minor repairs since then. The 1 mile track with 24 degrees of banking in the corners and very narrow straightaways with very little apron to work with makes it a Thunderdome akin to Bristol and gives rise to the nickname the Monster Mile, and of course the mascot Miles the Monster on the outside of the track. There he is. The name of the game for this one is going to be keep your truck in one piece, don't eat up your tyres. You've got 200 laps to deal with and you want to be there at the checkered flag to be able to take it home. The semi-final matchups for our mid-season Madness bracket are Justin Rourke versus Mika Walls and Cody McCourt versus Rivers Jones. It's going to be a hell of a battle to watch. Just wrapping up into our final minute of practice now, and I'll introduce my co-commentator alongside last week's winner. It's Jonathan Parker. Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Look at our practice times here. We're just about to head into qualifying now. William Kempf is top of our board, and in terms of first blood in our bracket, it is going to be Rose Jones at the top of the tower. Mika Balls in P5. Justin Rourke. Where's Justin Rourke? Hiding.
I think he's hitting on the bottom. I don't think he's done a lap.
He is here, isn't he? That'd be a that'd be a shame to wait to find that matchup. Cody McCourt down in 13th. He's definitely ready to duel against Rivers Jones. We're about to head into qualifying now. We're expecting lap times in that 23-second range. Likely not a use of the brake pedal going to be found in our qualifying session here. So let's go on board with Rivers Jones, I think, as we head into qualifying.
Certainly not a bad one to ride along with. He's been outstanding, not just in qualifying, but in the races this season, but especially in qualifying. He's got quite a few poles to his name. If he can't add another one.
And a bit of a slow roll out of pit lane here. Interesting. Seems like the second lap might be the preferred choice for Rivers. It's going to be just 2 laps, and you sometimes see this kind of strategy in IndyCar qualifying. Drivers will use this first lap just to get up to speed, get some heat into the tyres, and then use that second lap to really push. I think that might be the strategy Jones is taking, but there's a level of risk to that, because if you tap the wall or have a moment on your fast lap, you're not going to have any chance to really compete. Jordan Smyer with the first time on the board at 23.6. You see Rivers Jones is like a tenth of a second off. Actually did get up to speed there through 3 and 4 to start the lap. We'll see where's this one a little loose out of 2, but keeps out of the wall. Remember, that will invalidate your lap here on iRacing. And we'll see if you can find any more out of this. Down to about 145 mile an hour in the corner. Super close to the wall again. And Rivers Jones doesn't improve on that lap number 2. This lap number 1 is going to be the go-to for this race.
Yeah, he definitely had a moment in the center of 1, and he got a little too high off of 2, and that really affected his lap time. Guess we shouldn't have been riding on board with him. We jinxed him.
Let's give Alex Kerr
Don't hate
go
us.
here. And we're going to stay nice and safe on the broadcast cams this time. Let's see if the number 30 Chevrolet can find any more pace out of this track. It's not got a bad qualifying. He is in 5th place, to be fair.
That is true.
Alex Kerr on lap number 1 here. And you can see how the concrete gets dark on that lower side of 1 and 2 where the rubber gets laid down. You can see it a lot more clearly on a concrete track. And a slide out.
Wow!
That was a tap of the wall. That lap won't go onto the board. Yes, it will actually. But it's
It wasn't hard enough to get the X
time.
Yeah.
He's going to have to see if he can find anything with that slowing out for to set up a second lap, or he's going to be starting towards the back half of our field here.
That's kind of the worst case scenario to have a mistake, because it affects your run up for the next lap, as we've seen that there. He doesn't improve.
Cody McCorkle goes third fastest here, and that was on lap number 1. He definitely isn't going to find any more in that second one. All sorts of out of shape there.
Everyone we've been along with so far, lap 1 seems to be the one. And in the truck, I was getting ready to say, I usually like lap 2 a lot more. So I guess that might be a little bit different here tonight.
Looks like we might be coming to the end of our qualifying session. I'm just going to double check the bracket real quick. It is Justin Raw who's been advanced from Texas after a penalty to Cameron Caldwell at the end of last week's race, but I don't think he's here at Dover. I think he's taking this one as provisional, and so that is going to advance Mika Walls, who, to be fair, is on pole position, might be able to defend regardless, but it looks like he is going to move on to our final next week. Which looks like at Darlington. That's going to be... that's a hell of a track to duke it out at.
For sure, and knowing Michael Wallace, he might not even be thinking about that, knowing him. He just wants to go out there and lead every lap and give it 110% every single corner he's got. So, and honestly, probably won't change the way he's thinking too much, as he's going to be on the pole here.
And that will close our qualifying session out here. The checkered flag will fly, and it will be Mika Walls sat in pole position alongside Nathan Fuller. With that as our field gets ready to join the grid. We'll go through our starting lineup for tonight's race. It'll be Mika Walls on pole position with a 23.579, the only driver to find himself into the 23.5s. Nathan Fuller alongside with that 23.6. Then we've got Cody McCorkle and Jonathan Jerdensmeyer lined up on row number 2. William Kemp and Rivers Jones will make up the third row of our grid, with Tristan Maher, Jamie Wright 7th and 8th. And then Zach Probst and Alex Kerfen rounding out your top 10. Eli Poland and Stephen Maggio will make up spots 11 and 12, with Andrew Davis and David Durand 13th and 14th. Terry Watermolen and Christopher Smeltzer will make up row number 8 of our field. Into the 24s now, with Fidel Fabian, Justin Durand alongside our non-qualifiers. Tristan Pacheco and Stephen Thornton rounding out, I believe, the rest of our 20-car field, yes. And so as we get ready to get going for this race, there's just one more question to ask, really. Jonathan, who you got?
I'm going to pick my old buddy, old pal. He's starting on the pole. Usually if he qualifies good, he races good. I'm going to pick Michael Walls. I think he's a pretty good bullet to get into victory lane here.
Oh. See, now I can't pick the pole, so I've got to pick someone else. It's normally the easy pick. I think I'm gonna go with that Yahoo truck. Been impressing me all season long. Been having some good runs. I think Rivers Jones is to be the one to get it done tonight. Starting on the third row of the grid, of course, but plenty of time to race it through. Of course, stage break guaranteed at the end of lap 50. As the drivers get rolling for just the one pace lap here. Remember, exactly 1 mile on offer. I think he's going to get his first win of the season now. Both drivers are still hunting for that. We've been close a couple of times now, but not quite been able to find it. comes through turns 3 and 4. It will be Mika Walls and Nathan Fuller on the front row. Troll, as always, will be at the hands of Barney the Flagman on the official start with racing. First of all to lap 50. That's the end of our opening stage, and then straight through to 200. Maybe a few more if necessary. We've not needed it quite yet this season, I don't think. As we get going, the pace car pulls off. We enter the restart zone. And time to take a monster 200 miles here at Dover are underway. Managed to go away well. Already trailing out to the lead. Ahead of Nathan Fuller, judged by Rivers Jones. Up 2 spots, the outside line, looking to have played very effective on that initial start. Lap 1 goes into the button. It is going to be the number 7 at the point, as he was in qualifying.
Not unusual for on restarts that outside line to be a little bit of an advantage. You can keep that bottom car pinned down and use that momentum, get some spots.
Starting to see those drivers fan out on the back stretch here, and it's going to be one thing to look out for. It's if a car has a loose momentum stall in qualified, especially at turn 2, it can be very difficult to find somewhere to go. You can just end up bottled up and caught up behind someone else. Looks like we've got a little bit of a train forming behind Alex Kerfen here for P10. Durand and Smelter already up 4 spots each respectively, as number...
Wow.
Ooh, never mind. Number 24 is getting fought back on the outside line there. But this is dropping them. They're now only 2nd off the top 9 and really struggling to find anything to keep this one going. We've got a truck in the wall further back. That's Andrew Davis. Not sure if there was contact there to force him up there. These two still... this car's to find Alex Kerfen getting shuffled back. And it looks like Davis is going to be in pit lane out of turn number 2 very early indeed.
He might have caught he might have caught the inside wall. I'm not sure. And there's also some damage to the back of Kerfman's truck, and that'll definitely affect the way that truck handles.
See, this is what happened to Andrew Davis, the number 99. Bears truck loose here.
Definitely got the wall.
Yeah, let's roll that one back one more time. You see, going low, going high, trying to duck and weave around that goat racing number 11 of Fidel Fabian. Just gets loose out of 2 and banned into the inside wall there. And that left front tyre not feeling particularly happy about that at all. Get back to live pictures here. On board with Tristan Maher, who right now is in a bit of a battle for 8th place right now, has a Probst behind pressuring, but mainly I think these two just trying to hold on to the pack in front here, as now a 2.3 second gap for behind between this front 9. There's a moment from Jack Probst there, very similar issue out of turn number 3, and he's going down to the apron as well. It looks like the Monster's taking 2 victims already in the first 10 laps of this race.
I think we found our danger zone here. It's off of turn 2.
Going again is not going to go into pit lane there, but is very down on speed. I think hoping for a caution potentially in the next few laps to try and get some of that fixed.
Yeah, he does not have a meatball, which means he doesn't have to come down pit road, but that thing looks to be a handful. He's just hoping and praying for a caution. But
I think he might have missed pit road the first time by, honestly. I was maybe thinking, maybe I'll give it a try, see if I can find anything out of this. Is not going to make it happen.
Yeah, that's... Sorry.
McCorkle being chased down by William Kempf here. Down to 8 in this lead pack now.
I was just going to say, that's one thing that... It's hard enough to get down to pit road speed with a truck that's not damaged, and with one that is damaged. I think he probably thought he was going to hit the barrels, so just went around with extra time and brought it down pit road.
And David Durand, Christopher Smeltzer, two of our biggest movers so far. Justin Durand behind, actually, up from 18th on the grid, down up to 12th now, so 6 positions from where he started in this race. But up at the front, it's still business as usual between these lead drivers. Walls, Fuller, and Jurgensmeyer running in formation, essentially. Korkel also started on the second row. The grid has been moved back down to third now. Or sorry, to the third row, even in 6th place. But importantly, still in this fight, and we think tyre management is going to be quite a big factor here, especially on that right front tyre. We're talking praise that you can make it around the corners without any use of the brake pedal, at least at the start of a stint. I'm pretty sure drivers will be using a little bit of brake in the rear axle to try and get the truck rotated a little bit more and to bleed off some speed for those backed corners.
Yeah, a little bit of choke braking will definitely help kind of ease the pressure off that right front tire, and it's going to be interesting to see who's the cat and mouse game of tire saving, who's really saving and who's kind of going a little harder than they should. And this goes green, we'll definitely see how that plays out.
Yeah, we're not expecting to require green flag stops in the first stage of this race. We're expecting a fuel window, maybe 65, 75 laps, and our stage will come at the end of lap 50. There's going to be at least 1 green flag pit stop expected for that back half of the race, potentially a second if the fuel burn is higher than maybe expected. Alright, back to this battle here. This is the fight for P9. David Durand leading this train, trying to lead this train up to the top 8, but at this point they are quite a ways back. They are running all the way more than 2 seconds behind. The lap times have gotten a little bit quicker. You see 4/10 faster last time by. The tail ends are tripping themselves a little bit, and so maybe can get going, but Leo Poland wants to try and be the one to lead this train. He's going to go to the inside, and this is going to slow them down a little bit.
Yeah, I got to get this sorted out if they want to make up ground on Cody McCorkle up in 8th and the kind of the whole front train there, as they do get it sorted out.
You see the lap time drop by 0.2 of a second there for David Durand, sorry, in that last lap. Cody McCorkle found a couple of tenths, and so the gap ebbing and flowing a little bit. Down to 1.8 now. They've got to settle back into a rhythm. And once again, 4/10 that time by is a little bit of a loose moment there. I think Ty Watermolen a little bit further back. And Justin Rowe, wow. I don't believe this might be entering the race. Just popped up on our team.
He is. He is. He's coming down pit road. I mean, he's 18 laps down, but now he's stopped on pit road. Oh, Lord.
It's going to take a hell of a charge to make it into the final next week, but who knows? Let's not get distracted here. This is our battle here, and they really have closed in now. Gap down to 1.1 seconds. And less as Cody McCorkle is starting to, I think, fall off that pack a little bit. And David Durand pulling through ahead of the field. A little bit of fight further back. You got these cars under a bit of a blanket, but we're starting to see how the wear is really starting to spread these drivers out. We have a gap of about 0.8 of a second at the top of the field now, 0.9 even. Shown sticking in 4th, but William Kemp further behind under immense pressure, or putting immense pressure on JB Wright, I should say, for that 6th position. Oh, loose there from
wow.
Jamie Wright is going to fall back a position, maybe 2 now, as Cody McCorkle tries to take advantage. And I'm a little bit worried about what's now going to happen with the rest of that field closed right in. See, there's David Durand. We were talking about them being 2-3 seconds back. He's there. He's looking to try and move forward in this race. They're going side by side ahead. Maybe a bit of frustration for the 24, but also a chance to try and pick one of these drivers off in the fight.
Yeah, I think he's looking for 2 spots here. He's coming in a hurry, but he's got to show a little bit of patience.
Still forming that roadblock side by side. You can't really go 3 wide here. You got the 2 Celsius trucks, no tail here. Durand and Smelter, they've just got nowhere to go. And actually, it has set us up here. We might slot it back, and immediately Durand pounces on Conan McCorkle. They both get around. And they're to see their fight once again, maybe. Just knowing that they don't have the tire right now. Gonna fall back a little bit. We are halfway through our stage. Maybe a little bit of contact there. I think that was Justin Durand. He's trying to get through on the low side here and move up into 9th position.
So Durand doing a good job of coming back from that EOL that he had to start this race. He had an EOL from penalty back at Texas, and he's done a good job of just being patient, methodical.
Yeah, up into 9th place right now. Again, I think when you get an EOL in a race like this, the stage break is really your saving grace. You're using this first stage not really to go for points, but just to put yourself back into a qualifying position, as Cody McCorkle found the outside wall here. Struggling with the handling of that number 2 Chevrolet. It's going to fall back to 14th place after qualifying. Remember, 3rd inside of the 2nd row. Just doesn't quite have the longer in it, looks like, to put a challenge on these drivers. Justin Raw is now up and running, but 22 laps down. I think praying for a miracle of something to happen to Mika Walls, who is currently just up front and leading by 7/10 of a second. Battle for 4th place here. Tristan Maho and Rivers Jones side by side. Tristan goes for a little bit of a slide job almost. Rivers going to try and fight it back on the exit, but it's going to have to slot in. Heading to turn number 3 here. Tristan going to take that middle lane. Jones to stay low. So it's going to give the 17 that run off the corner. And that Pratt Miller Chevrolet to move up to 4th place.
Yeah, that's a nice move, man. He's got some speed. He's moving forward.
Yeah, up 3 spots now from starting position. Fell down to 9th place, but you see in the tires work their magic here as we hit the end of lap 30. You're starting to see the marbles build up on the top of the corners as well. We'll go back to the vertical searches to give a good view of that at the top of the screen.
Yeah. And they don't call those marbles for nothing. And especially with the latest update, at least major update, when you hit those, you do go straight. You don't want to hit those if you're running the top of the track. And that is just something that as the run goes on, it is definitely tough on you.
Yeah, I believe those will get cleaned up during our stage caution. I believe that's available under part of the caution logic. If we've got a slow car, it was Jamie Wright who's had an incident. Actually come down onto pit lane. We'll see what has happened to him. Listen, this is turns 1 and 2, I believe. And just pulls it down, actually. Maybe going for an alternate strategy. Maybe. I daren't say it. Have we meatballed a tire already? I've had a race here where I've meatballed a tire before, but on lap 30 seems a little bit early.
Yeah, that seems a little early to have a meatball tire.
It was like a long stop, so I think some damage repair more than anything. Or maybe just looking to get some points for the race start and then go on to other endeavours. This is our battle for the fringe of the top 10. 10th place Del Fabian, up 7 spots, looking to continue that charge. We've got a great group of drivers here in the bottom half of the top 10 who have made up a ton of spots. Durand up 7. Smelter 8 the other Durand, David up 9. Fidel Fabian up 7, Christian Pacheco up 8, down in P11. At the expense of Cody McCorkle, Jamie Wright, Zach Probst, all down more than 10 spots so far in the run of this one. Just 15 laps to go until we get to that stage break, of course. Currently the lead's 0.8 of a second for Mika Walls, who has led every single lap of this event so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of just managing that gap. It's gone up and down, kind of between 0.7 and 1.2 seconds. And he's just kind of just managing his race right now, doing a very good job of it.
That's what any driver would love to see on the position tracker. Not too bad for Nathan Fuller either, matching second places. And hanging with, I mean, Jordensmeyer and co more than a second and a half back at this point. See him just at the top of shot there. With a couple of trucks now forward and lap down. Steven Maggio's 1 lap down, currently in the lucky God spot on this impending caution. And then looks like Jamie Wright is potentially out of this race. So just doing what, just 23 cautions away from the lead lap. We're rooting for you, 76.
And for Steven Maggio, his best friend is Stephen Thornton, because if Stephen Thornton goes a lap down at the end, by the end of the stage, he'll get the free pass and not Steven. So that's, well, I guess it's 2 Stevens.
It's not looking that good for the 51 though, because you saw a background of shot. I mean, towards Nathan Fuller, they're starting to chase him down here. Just maybe 3-4 seconds the gap between them, if that. And that would then put just 15 on the lead lap, and Steven Maggio have to wait for a second caution. After third place starting to heat up. And it actually comes with Jordensmeyer and Justin Maher just clearing Justin Rourke. I think he's just here to turn laps, ultimately pick up spots from people who might have an incident. He's getting a little bit caught up in this battle right now. He's trying to go back through on what are fresher tyres. He's only won 17 laps of racing in this one so far. I think these two quite smartly gonna allow him to do that, not fight it too hard and get going. Less than 10 to go in the stage now.
And just did a good job of letting those two battle out their position, and once they got it settled down, he kind of went and took his took that spot, and he's gonna go try and get a lap back. One of the many he's down.
And bad news for Steven Maggio. Thornton has now fallen a lap down. He's had to let the lead trucks through, and Maggio's still about 5 seconds back from him, not really able to put a challenge as he gets swallowed up by the fringes of the top 10. See number 51 on the high side there, with Christian Pacheco in that Dale Jr. inspired truck going on the low side. Right here for the 11th and 12th spots. Levi Poland clearing Steven Maggio, now trying to chase down Christopher Smeltzer, who had that charge early with David Durand, but wasn't really able to carry it into the top 10. He's going to just about miss out on stage points, it seems like, and he's under a little bit of fire now from number 90, who started in P11 and wants that spot back. Fell much further, he's making a bit of a charge back through the field here. And he's going to the inside, 5 to go in the stage. And it looks like the Ford F-150 of Levi Poland is going to move back up into P11. They have to hold
might not
well
be
on the exit there. I think he should have this one done.
Yeah, he should get that clear then. Yeah, Smeltzer had a run for just a second, but Levi Poma was able to clear him there.
And now bad news for Stephen Thornton, and that's Alex Kerfin on the high side. Go a lap down with just 3 to go in the stage. Well, very quickly that cycled back to the lead lap with the Lucky Dog, and that'll trap both of the Stevens 1 lap down heading into second stage of the race.
With the way this race is looking in the first stage here, it looks like it's going to be a green race, so that one guaranteed caution might be the only one you get, and so if you're trapped a lap down after it, it might spell for a long day for you.
And Mika waving the teammate by, almost running old gentleman's rules on racing back to the caution. So have your lap back, go on. I'm sure the Goat Racing sticker on the back of the truck made that an awfully easy decision for the number 7. But here we come, white flag in the stage. Gap is 7/10 per second. Nathan being a little bit hassled here by Alex Kerfin. Isn't able to maybe put a challenge on that he thinks he could have, but ultimately it has been Mika Walls the whole way from the start of the race. He's the only driver in the 23.5s in qualifying. The fall off, by the way, 2.5 seconds down into the 26s, but it is going to be the number 7 Goat Racing's Mika Walls taking the stage 1 victory.
He made that one look easy.
That's the caution. Roll that through.
He rolled everyone through, and
Walls, Nathan Fuller, Tristan Maher, Jonathan Jordensmeyer, Rivers Jones taking the lion's share of the stage points tonight at Dover. William Kempf, David Durand, Justin Durand, Fidel Fabian, and Tristan Pacheco, those hard chargers at the tail end of the top 10 earn themselves just a few stage points as well. But now we head down to pit road. I think this is a no-brainer strategy for everyone. 4 tires, a full tank of fuel, and it's just about what your crew can do to try and get you back out as quickly as possible. Kerfin, of course, doing a stay to the high side, get that Lucky Dog spot, but I'd be surprised. Looks like we have one other truck staying out. I'm not sure if it's necessarily I still don't know. I think you need the fresh tires. You need that swallowed up so quickly if you don't. And a quick caution to give you that lap back anyway. But as the field comes down pit road here, it is going to be Walls, Fuller, and Mahi C. Those trucks that made the top 10, but with the further back pit stalls matching their lower qualifying spot. Into the box, and now it's going to be a race to see who can make it to the green cones the quickest. Home Total finally gets to the box. Obviously fell quite a way back. Tristan gets a great pit stop, but it is going to be Mika Walls on the way out of pit road, and then Nathan Fuller, Jonathan Jordensmeyer with a very close fight, and it looks like the 00 is going to have to slot in behind the number 4, and we'll be starting for the 4th position. So we see if we can get. It's not like Mika is in the Discord, unfortunately, so we won't be able to get a word just yet. But I won't be surprised if we get another chance before the end of the race.
With how fast he's been, I agree he's going to have a pretty good shot at this, but I'm not going to say it's a win yet, because Tristan was very fast on that long run, and now him getting to start essentially on the front row, depending on how this choose goes. He does choose the front row. He will have something to say on those long runs, because I noticed his pace was very good.
And you see, I think that was Alex Kerfin getting up to speed off pit lane, just about beating the field back out, taking some repairs, it looks like, on that truck. Will remain on the lead lap. We've got 15 now. Stephen Thornton, Stephen Maggio, both 1 lap down, and be fighting for that Lucky God spot. if we get another caution here, just maybe a big if. It's been a clean race so far, just a couple of single truck incidents that bring themselves down to the apron. But it is so easy in these sort of close quarters to catch. Just a little bit off. Tristan up 5 spots. That's to be the big challenge here for Mika Walls, but he's in control of the field this time. He has to choose when in the restart zone he's going to go. And he's going to try and get that jump and get the rest of the race off to a good start. Good race number 7, rolling through turns 3 and 4 into the restart zone. And it's a good getaway from Mika, nice and clean. But it looks like Tristan is going to have the nose ahead into turn 1 from Nathan Fulham and Jonathan Jordensmeyer. He's going to cover that off. They're going to be side by side behind, and Rivers Jones, who had a great start on the initial race start, is going to try and follow Nathan Fulham through on the inside potentially, trying to back up into 4th place.
Jones had a very good corner. He does clear Jurgensmeyer. That was another very good start for him. Nathan Fuller gets by Tristan Maher for a second, and Rivers Jones is going to look to follow through on that move.
And it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, to make that fuel number. And potentially Mika trying to back it down a little bit, trying to make that as easy as possible, knowing that it's a very good chance we do stay green for a long time here and could potentially have a caution-free race outside of that stage. Nathan, of course, has a little bit of slipstream help if he's trying to make that work.
That's a very, very tight window. It's not a very big window at all for to make this on one stop. You would have to really back up the early part of this run, and you know, if you're 4th, 5th, 6th, why not? Why not just back it up a little bit and try and see if you can't do something a little different than everybody else?
Then again, if you're in that spot, you see Truts further up going for a bit of a save. Why not give it a push? Why not take a gamble? Go for the race lead if you can, and then who knows? Maybe there could be a caution. Maybe all this ends up being for naught, and you just keep those spots in the pocket as everyone comes in for the fresh tires. They're definitely going to need a track like this. Side by side in the background, just to Durand, William Kempf. Durand up 11 spots, going for that 12th one. Still going to be side by side with William Kempf into turn number 3. That low line does seem to be preferred. He's getting the nose ahead, but Kempf doing a great job holding on to it. Might get back to the limit here by Jonathan Jordensmeyer.
Yeah, Justin Rand's climb has been very impressive to see.
An instant for David Durand. We're going to stay green, it looks like. No, we're not. Caution is out on the racetrack.
There's a caution.
And this is going to make the strategy choice very interesting, because this caution will save you a little bit of fuel, but do you maybe come down pit road, take a top up, not take some tires, save the sets for later on, but just take a little bit of fuel, a little bit of damage on that number 24. And after what was a great race for him so far, he's going to end up Ooh, maybe get a little bit of help from the number 11 Fidel Fabian. They're moving into the outside wall. And I know one truck will be down on pit rotators and repairs, that's for sure.
For sure, and that 24 truck does look to be in pretty tough shape, and was a pretty big hit to that outside wall. Because we're on board with Fidel Fabian.
Let's have a look on this low side here. Ooh, there's a little bit of pinch, but also maybe just catches a tiny bit of that apron down at the bottom side of the track.
Yeah, I don't think the 11 could have been much lower, to be fair.
I think he tried, and that, if anything, he saw he was getting pitched, tried to use a little bit of the apron. It obviously didn't let him stay down there. And we are down on pit road for...
Yeah, split strategy.
Yeah, it's what you love to see, isn't it?
Have spice things up a little bit, and that's all a bet right there, is depending on when these cautions fall. With limited tire sets, you kind of don't know what the right strategy is.
It does seem like everyone who's come down pit road has decided to take form. It's not about the fuel number. I think the caution would have made that a little bit easier, and you could have stayed out for that. But everyone from sit on back here has come in for 4 fresh tires.
Yeah, and even though it wasn't that long of a run, was only about 10 to 12 laps. That's a lot on these tires at this concrete track. They're very temperamental, so those new tires, those guys are going to be flying through the field.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a big win in the short term for Ty Watermole and Tristan Pacheco. Ty especially has been not in the top 10 at all so far this race up until right now. We're going to try and hold on to as much as you can in that Jersey Mike's Ford F-150. We come to the twos now. Pacheco as well was running sort of fringe of the top 10 already, now up to 4th place. Gonna go in, and that is going to be about a 10-lap green flag tyre delta for all of these drivers. David Durand is going to fall 1 lap down here, as Stephen Maggio is given the wave, the lucky guard, I should say. Of course, no one getting the wave with the top 2 staying out in this one.
It looks like Stephen Maggio's got most of his damage repaired, so he should be able to get back in this race a little bit here.
How much does 10 miles of racing really mean to a set of Goodyear tires? We're about to find out. Michael Ball has been almost untouchable so far this race, but has about a dozen trucks that are going to be breathing down his neck very soon. He's got 3 trucks and only 4 trucks to try and protect him. Fuller, McCorkle, Watermole, and Pacheco behind. It is going to be the number 7 getting going again. You see the wheel spin a little bit already for the number 4 on that restart. And it looks like the number 8 is getting out of Dodge immediately. It's going to fall to the back of the field. Let everyone get through because he knows that those tyres are going to be struggling with the pace he's had. This is a mess, almost 3 wide further back.
Cluster. Cluster is what this is.
Rivers Jones, one of the trucks who was running very quickly early on, who goes for that strategy call. Tristan Matt already up to 3rd. We knew how quick he was. He's found that tyre delta. Further back was still too wide in the field. I mean, a lot of these are on fresh tyres, battling each other. Ty Watermole and just falling into play here. Gets overtaken by Rivers Jones. And he's going to go high and not really put too much of a fight for the 11 Fidel Fabian next. The 09 William Kemp, both almost in the same lap here. There's Maggio back on the lead lap and looking to charge. They're going to be 3 wide into the corner.
3 wide. Yeah.
I don't think any of them are going to back out of this one. Eventually, it is going to be Ty Watermole, who I think just gets shuffled out more than anything. And maybe they're starting to settle down, but as the battle further back settles down, the battle for the lead, I think, is just about to get going. Tristan already up. Justin Durand as well. Now up 14 spots from his starting position up into P4.
Yeah, he's in this battle for the win for sure.
The only risk of this strategy is You've now already burned 2 of your 5 tire sets. You're on number 3 right now. We are not close to halfway just yet. You kind of need the race to now stay green again and have that one caution be a bit of a blip.
Yeah, they're taking a bet that that was a statistical abnormality, if you will, and that what we saw in the first 50 laps is how this is going to go. And if so, these guys who took tires have got it made, because that advantage is going to stay for quite a while.
Well, we've seen this pattern. Once a race can be clear, but once you get some people off cycle from each other, that introduces the pace delta that can start to cause more incidents. People start getting a little bit impatient. They want to try and get the moves done. I think Tris did a great job here being patient, trying to just walk up to the truck ahead rather than charge at them to make sure that he doesn't immediately neutralize the tire advantage he has.
Yeah, and that's something that a lot of people kind of fall victim of. They have new tires compared to other people and they're Superman, but Mr. Maher's really kind of just taking a step back, taking a breath, and Justin Rand has as well on those new tires, and they're taking care of it and thinking about, 20, 30, 40 laps down the road.
Yeah, but I think maybe there'll be an urgency being forced from Justin Durand. Really got to the rear bumper. Forces number 17 to get going, to go to the inside of Nathan Fuller, but the number 4 defends for the time being, and this is bunching up the entire field. 7 trucks up in the second right now. And you see the number 5 going, well, if you're not going to make this move, I might have to be the one to do it myself. They're going to be side by side at turn 2. This isn't helping either of their tires. Tristan gonna clear. I think that was Jordan's Meyer tapping the wall just a little bit. I mean, Nathan Fuller doing a great job on this defense here. Might finally have to give it up down into turn number 1, but this is helping out Michael Walls just a little bit.
That's exactly what Michael Walls wants to see. Just Nathan Fuller fight these tires as hard as possible. And now there's no one between the tires and him.
Yeah,
sorry.
And once one goes, another follows. Justin Durand now to P3 into the podium spots. Not quite clear of Nathan Fuller just yet, but it's a matter of time. And again, Rivers Jones, the freight train rolls on. Fuller able to slot back into P5. But Jordan's Meyer smells blood in the water, goes to the low side, and I think Fuller knows that this strategy call might not work out yet. He might need to wait for a caution. There's a little bit of contact there with Jordan Meyer out of 4. Both getting gathered up to stay side by side.
Jurgens Meyer had a great save down the front straightaway. This is a hard straightaway with it being banked to save a race truck, and it's a miracle he's got a truck right now.
Yeah, I mean, 24 in the corners, but still 9 degrees of banking above the apron on these straightaways. There's no rest, and again, I think that's part of the problem out of turn 2, where trucks can have that loose and it just throws them down to the apron and into the inside wall. Fuller's still getting swallowed up.
Yeah, once you lose that cleaner air, it's going to be trouble for you when you're on older tires.
I think Walls knows that. I think Walls going to try and fight as long as he can, but look at the gaggle behind. Tristan almost being pushed by Durand to try and get this one done. Goes high, maybe not the lane to be going in. It's going to open the door for Justin Durand to try and slot him behind, but Tristan to hold it on the outside is going to now be trying to fight this one around the top of 1 and 2. I think he's going to make this one stick. He's going to take the race lead for the first time in this race. It is not the number 7 at the point. It's number 17. Justin Maher takes the lead here at Dover.
You see immediately the 2 trucks behind him on fresh tires also pass, and now here comes Fidel Fabian trying to follow suit.
The low side was working so well, but once he got stuck down there, not able to use the full width of the racetrack, it is just one after the other. Jordan Meyer now up into the top 5 as well. And soon to be Stephen Maggio, who again was a lap down earlier. Had some damage, got it fixed up, and now putting that pressure on, trying to get back up to the front of the field. And
yeah,
really
what a quick comeback
for
him.
A rotten Texas for him.
Yeah, what a comeback for the 51 of Stephen Maggio. Don't count him out of this thing.
As low as 19th, and again, 1 lap down even. Managed to get the lucky out under what was just that last caution. Bolted 4 fresh tyres on, as did most of the field. And is very much on his way. Look at our stint lengths here, and you see the drivers who stayed out, those 32 numbers. 9th, 10th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Some of them are held on for, you know, maybe 10, 15 laps at the front of the field, but once you get swallowed up, there is just nowhere to go but to the back. Mika barely pledged onto this lead pack, and it's him and Nathan Fuller who are... I mean, that's not what you want to be, is it? That's not the best spot to be in with a teammate 20 laps down. You see Fuller's still a little bit further back as well. And they're being left out of this top 8. They're streaking away. And they don't have a chance to fix this for another maybe 40, 50 laps until the pit cycle comes up. Or until it's caution, of course, and that's really what they're praying for. I just had a thought that first semi-final that we were talking about, that's a teammate fight there.
That's true.
So a win for Goat Racing either way, didn't have 1 truck. Facing off against Cody or Rivers. Next week at Darlington.
Yeah, what a track to have the final too. That is toughest of the tough. You're gonna have to earn it there no matter what.
Jones might to the low side, going to try and clear Fidel Fabian. He's not be able to do it out of turn number 4, but he's going to be fully alongside now into turn number 1. Can't use the rest of the track on entry though. He's going to get bottled up and pinched mid-corner. And maybe Steve Maggio try and give him a helping hand to get through here. He's stuck just watching, trying to follow through whoever gets this one done. The 00 is still not confident to move up. He's still gonna fight side by side with the number 11. And they're not exactly being left behind here, but they're not holding on. And Jones keeps getting loose on the exit of the corners there. Nearly has the run, but can't get the power down enough to confidently move back up the racetrack and to clear now. Finally gets it done, but only just by inches ahead of the bumper of that number 11. And he's going once again. All 3 manufacturers in the top 4. And is that a little bit of contact maybe loose from Fidel Fabian? We saw the contact he had with David Durand to bring out that first instant caution of the race. Not really too much on his shoulders, but maybe a little impatient here from Stephen Maggio to try to get up into the top 5 for the first time in this race. Fidel Fabian, yeah, he's 12 to be here. He might drop down to up 11 here.
Yeah, Stephen Maggio sees those leaders and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer kind of scooting away from him, and that's what that battling was doing. It was getting that front 4 or so, 3 or 4 cars to break away. Stephen Maggio just clears him, and now he's going to be able to go hunt down Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and the rest of the leaders.
And it's not just on the older tyres where you see that sort of freight train effect. I think immediately now going to be putting some pressure from Levi Poland to try and get through as well.
Some of that is rhythm too with this racetrack, especially. It's such a rhythm racetrack. You kind of just, you know, you're in your groove, and then when you're getting past, you can't be in that. So it takes you a couple laps to kind of get back to the pace you should be. But by then, you might already lose 2 or 3 spots, as we see he's now side by side with Poland.
Yeah, and it's a track that doesn't have that much evolution over the course of a race. Of course, the tyres, a massive amount of pace fall off for them. We mentioned 2.5 seconds through that caution-free first stage, but concrete's durable. It reflects a lot of the sun. It's going to stay a little bit cooler, and it's going to be able to resist deformation a little bit more. It's going to keep a more consistent surface, so you can't rely on that skill of sort of hunting for grip where you can. You've just got to have that perfect line in mind and try to hit every lap you can. As your Poland drops up a little bit on the number 11 Fidel Fabian, is going to fall down the order. Justin Roth in that subplot is going to also sneak through. David ran back out on the racetrack, by the way, 15 laps down. That's a spot that, oh, we see him just in the background there, actually getting a bit loose and maybe impeding William Kempf a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of respect for David Duran to get that thing repaired, be out here, because it could be very easy for him to say, you know, my truck's dead. I'll just be done for the day. But he doesn't want that DNF on his sim racer hub there. He wants to finish this race, even if it's 15 or so laps down.
Yeah, I mean, it's always practice, right? You
might
be looking at a race here coming up, or just maybe getting a feel for the truck, something you maybe got used to.
Wow.
You know, the Western plates about how loose the truck feels today, and you saw a little bit of that just now. And having those extra reps, try and learn that, it's never a bad thing, you know? You're already committed to being here for the night. And David Durant says he wants to this one a little bit more of a running. Nearly 3 wide up in front.
Wow.
As the Poland just gets well out of the way and says, you two are faster than me, you've got
a
little bit of fresh tires, it looks like. Go for it.
You two lappers go and just kind of have your own deal there. I'll sit here and try and just stay in my rhythm.
This fight for third is starting to really heat up. Jones to Jones by going to be side by side almost on the edge of turn 2, and Stephen Maggio did clear and is right on top of these two. Try to put pressure on. We can now hit the halfway point. It is number 17 in the lead with Justin Durand behind. This green flag run is perfect for these trucks that pit, not just because they get so much more time to use these tyres, but it means there's less chance that 5th set would come into play. That the extra set that those 5 that stayed out are going to have in the pocket for some late cautions.
Yeah, this run is not what the likes of Michael Walls or Nathan Fuller wanted to see. They needed a caution to come out, honestly, a bunch of laps ago, for being honest. And they didn't get it, and now they're in a hole and just kind of have to survive.
Oh, actually, Nathan Fuller, as well as Alex Perfect, just came down to pit road at that halfway point of the race, decided we need some fresh tires, we need to try something to try and turn this around. Fuller now 2 laps down in P15, and a caution right now would be especially painful because you only get waved 1 of those back. You'll have to try and get a lucky dog to even get you in the lead lap at this point. So now they're praying for it to stay green just a little bit longer until these front runners have to make their stop. I mean, you've got a feel for Micah. Like, it feels like in every race, the winning strategy has been to look at what he does and then go the opposite way. At some point, he's got to catch a break on one of these calls.
Yeah, it's tough, and I said it when that caution happened. It's kind of one of those coin flip situations where, yeah, if you get another caution in 10 laps, you shouldn't have come down when all those guys did. But if it goes green, and these guys who took tires have got it made, and we're at the point now where everyone will pit for tires anyway if there's a caution right now. So yeah. They've just kind of just lost that track position at this point, and that's kind of why Nathan Fuller said, screw it, I might as well just pit right now.
Yeah, Cody McCorkle also making that call. It's now just Walls and Pacheco handing out on the lead lap. That's a little bit of a loose moment there for As the Stroke runs through, I'm trying to work out who that was at the bottom. I think it was just Smeltzer. Yeah, who's struggling.
He's in the marbles here.
Yeah. And again, those stick to the tyre is the problem. Steve Maggio flies around. He now falls a lap down. And in fact, he's picked up a meatball flag from somewhere. He's tried to get down to pit road. Manages to do it without collecting anyone. We'll try and have a look at what happened to Smeltzer here. We go back to our replay cam. Here's turn number 1. Drifts up just out of the way of Nathan Fuller on the fresh tyres. I'm not seeing this, but I'm wondering if that was a meatball flag awarded for the tyre rather than for.
Sure. We'll see here, because this is not when he got in the marble. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, this is, yeah, I think it might have been just down to the tyres there. He's down on pit road, and I think he might be saying, you know what? No, he's still not a meatball, so it's not a tyre issue. It's something else that we haven't quite seen. I doubt it was that wall tap, because that was such a light piece of contact. Back to the live pictures, meatball still sticking out, and to be fair to him, is still in this pack. He's only 8 seconds off the lead, despite the tyre delta. Potato just a few further back. Justin Durand actually makes the call to pit now. He's not going to try and make this on one stop from the pits. Maybe he's seeing higher fuel usage than we were expecting. He makes the call now.
So Maher's down pit road. I think he just sped big time.
Oh, and he did. Let's try and get a quick replay of that one.
Oh, no. Like, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, you see the slide. That is going to be, I think, maybe 2 laps lost for the number 17.
At least.
Maggio inherits the lead, and that has kicked off one hell of a pit cycle here.
I said it a little earlier. This is one of the toughest pit roads to get on. And you just saw it right there. I mean, he looked like he was going to kind of run away with this thing here. And now Tristan, he's going to need a miracle to really get back in this thing, because you're going to lose so much time having to serve that penalty.
One thing I'm curious about, we think the fuel window might carry it. We know how fast and how long Ward's been able to stretch these tyres. They've gone 60 laps now. If he can make it maybe 10 more, maybe 15 more, try and make this a one-stop race from that stage caution. What we were expecting if it was a fuel-limited race, I think a lot of drivers saying, no, these Goodyears, they ain't lasting that long. We need to make 2 stops to the end. Because that's not just now people that stayed out. We've got quite a few who made that pit stop from down pit road. Justin Durand, and of course Tristan Ma, who is going to fall 2 laps down here. Maybe even 3 before the rest of the cycle finishes up. But Walls and Pacheco still sticking it out. They're 62 laps each on this current set, and this might be their way to try and deal their way back in.
Yeah, this is really anyone's race right now. This is just so topsy-turvy, so many different strategies going along. Can you one-stop it? Do you want to one-stop it? This is even faster. Oh my gosh, hang on, folks.
Well, look at those last lap times. 26 is at the front of the field. Trucks further back are finding 24s. It looks like 23s are reserved for qualifying push. Drivers know they need to back it down a lot more. But a 2-second pace delta between trucks on fresh tyres and trucks that are still staying out right now. Ward and Pacheco done a great job to equalise that tyre delta. But here comes Nathan Fuller, who made the pits about 15 laps ago. It's very difficult for him to fight that. But even so, Fuller down into the 25 ones at this point. The fresh tyres really fall off quickly, and then they hit that sort of plateau.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Slow pit road here, so maybe this could work out.
Yeah, this is not only a long pit road, like you said. it's also just a very slow pit speed. I think it's just 35 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Very, very slow. So I wouldn't want to roll down there twice. I don't know about you.
I don't want to run down there once.
Yeah.
I think it's a valid strategy to hope that someone wins out of caution on entry or exit and just run until the tank runs out or until the tire goes down.
Yeah, and we saw the leader of this race out to 2.5, almost 3-second lead. So, that's in the back of his head, and he's still kind of just overcooked it. And it could happen to anyone out here, and it's very easy for that to be you hit the pit barrels, and that's an easy caution. So,
and you see how these trucks are tripping over each other right now.
That's another good point.
A little bit of contact and that caution flag to fly.
Oh my goodness.
We're maybe 5 laps from that window opening in terms of fuel to the end of the race. Maybe a little bit more than that to make it safer, but with how you have to back it down on tyres to get that far, maybe the fuel can stretch quite far. Maybe we're talking closer to that 75, 80 lap number.
I would wager that, because with the 2.5 to almost 3 seconds of fall off, you use so much less fuel in the second half of this run. Whoa, that was an awkward moment. But you use so much less fuel, it probably is closer to 80 laps. So I'm willing to bet that these leaders are in their window to do this on just one more stop.
But bear in mind, that was Justin Durand filing through Mika Walls, who we're focused on right now. Only 1 lap down at this point. Oh, and there's a slide from the Poland. That's gonna. Oh no, that's from Jordensmeyer. No, it's the Poland, yeah. And it's Alex Kerfen who's a lap down, sliding through. There's about the 4th place on the racetrack, but Walls about so much more again. Here comes Durand trying to slot through. Mika Walls finally pulls the trigger. 78 laps to go in this race. You gotta think he's at least got an eye to try to get this to the end, or maybe hoping for a late caution before that fuel stop would have to happen.
My bet is that he's just on the edge of his window, and he's at peace with this decision.
Pacheco's still staying out 70 laps now on that tank, and importantly on that set of tyres. That'll maybe give us the number, of course, some of that spent under caution. So that'll extend it a little bit longer. If Pacheco can get to 125, maybe, 130 would make it for sure on that number 8 truck, but there comes Mika Walls out of pit lane, 2 laps down, of course. But very quickly in the race back to just 1. And everyone who's still on the lead lap hasn't made that pit stop yet. I think we know that these top 6 are going to try and make this work. They've been staying out so long. They've definitely got the fuel to go in another few laps with their splash.
Sure, if I pit at that caution, I wouldn't want to think about going down that pit road twice under green.
Somehow, again, we've seen that strategy call been made, but this is Mika Walls. See how fast he gets around Steven Maggio. It's like it's a multi-class race. And gets one of those 2 laps back.
That's a good comparison. Steven didn't want any part of that. He was like, just go ahead.
Of course, this doesn't mean a caution flies now. They will get back onto the lead lap. They'll have a bit of a tire disadvantage as well, but Walls, the least of that, just pit 3 laps ago. Pacheco now into 75, as that's an incident, I think, for Fidel Fabian. It's down on pit road, but he was down to a much lower speed there for a little bit. Let's have a look at this pit entry 4. And he spins it. Does he avoid the barrels?
No, I don't think he just touched them.
But he picks up a black flag, maybe an unsafe entry, or maybe getting a little bit too fast on the speed just in this sort of bamboozlement. It can happen. Pacheco still stays out. This is the signal. I think we know Pacheco's going for this one stop. The question is, has Mika Walls pit late enough to also leave that option open? If he has to go all the way to the end.
I think so. I think he just put on the outskirts of
I think he's hoping
what is possible.
But I think he knows it might be possible. Which is, when does everyone pull the trigger now? I mean, Justin Durand has raced away back to the lead lap, but has one stop left as well. I think everyone in this field, except for maybe Walls and Maggio, who did make that stop, has one stop left in this race. Because are they going to have to take it under green? Are we going to get a caution? And if we do get this under green, who is going to end up cycling out? The leaders have been on their tyres for 65 laps. They've got about 70 left. Jordan Meyer now down on pit road. Oh no, there's Rivers Jones into the barrels.
Wow.
Is that going to bring out a caution? Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
He's out of the race. But that has completely thrown this strategy up in the air.
Yeah, everything we were talking about, throw that away.
I mean, let's get a replay of this. Again from the onboard camera. Turn 3 is already sliding up in turn 3. I think just tries to go down way too late. Maybe practiced based on fresh tires.
Yeah.
Hit straight to the right front tire. I mean, that trick isn't going anywhere fast. And just comes to rest on the low side of turn 4. Officials had no choice, really, but to throw that caution. And the leaders are going to come down pit road. Justin Durand is not. Justin Durand is going to trap, I think, a few trucks a lap down here, potentially.
I think that might be his plan.
I mean, it makes sense. He's got 20 lap old tires. I don't know if he had. How many sets does Durand have left? He hit on 50.
He might
hit on 60 something.
He has one set left.
110.
I think he only has one set left. He might be forced to stay out here, really. Because if we get a caution at the end, then he's screwed then.
Yeah. And that's the downside of taking this strategy. The people that stayed out to this point have sort of neutralized that change now. We're going to cycle back to it. Looks like 10 on the lead lap. Maggio and Walls feeling the best out of that strategy pitting so late. But I mean, Jordensmeyer, Kempf, Pacheco especially managed to extend all the way past lap 130 after pitting just under that stage caution at lap 52 maybe. Rewarded massively in that one. Durand is going to come down pit road. He's going to have to take what we think might be his last set of tyres. Or is he just going to take some fuel? He's going to take the set.
There's tires, yeah.
He needs this to stay green now. He really does not have a choice in the matter. We got a few trucks. Tristan Mars one lap down. Is in the lucky dodge spot right now, but has to make a stop on fuel. Walls should be able to make it, we think, with the help of the caution. Ty Watermuller one down might end up racing that lucky god spot back with 20 lap fresher tires. But this is gonna be a very tricky situation for a number of trucks. Once again, the number 7 finds himself with 10 lap older tires than the rest of the field. He didn't even have the track position to help him out, but he's one of just 10 trucks remain on the lead lap. He has, we think, 2 sets of tires in the pocket now for if we get a caution. Some people just with one, some are completely out. Justin Durand, we think, is going to have to finish the race on this set of Goodyears. We get going. Jordensmeyer had the inside, is going to take the lead, and it's going to be pretty clear that's Tristan Matt who had to stay out and take that wave round, falling to the back of the field pretty quickly. But coming through turns 1 and 2, I think a lot of trucks maybe hoping for a quick caution. Justin Durand especially hoping we do not get that, try and keep as many of those a lap down as possible. We've got a 3-car breakaway at the front of the field here. Jordensmeyer, Kemp, Fuller. And I think everyone is immediately on a bit of save mode. We've got a lot of trucks out of this race, whether by incident or just being stuck laps down. Not really much to race for. Just hoping for an instant here, but everyone knows, everyone can see how far away the finish line is. They know that they're likely to have to do it on this set. And I think quite a few taking it easy here. The front 3, under a blanket, they don't want to back off right now. They want to try and break away. But the gap already about a second from these guys back to Alex Kerfen. And the rest of the field running single file further back. Fuller goes to the low side. William Kemp going to try and get this one done. With that high lane working well. Kemp, he's got alongside Jordensmeyer. And this is not helping their tyres. We know there are about 60 laps left in this. We think these guys have one set left because they managed to stay out until that caution came out from Rivers Jones. Which, by the way, that's my pick out the window. But William Kemp goes to the race lead and is maybe thinking we will get a caution, 30 to go maybe. He wants the track position now. He's going to take that set when that does happen. And or maybe he wants clean air. Maybe he's use a little bit right now, get ahead and out in front of the field, and now he can manage with Jordensmeyer and Fuller going side by side, taking that out of each other now as well.
I think that Kemp is thinking, get control of this race and I can control my pace, and maybe that's the best way I could save my tires. And when you see the two in your mirror battling, that makes that decision seem a little bit better so far.
You want to know who my dark horse might be in this one?
Who's that?
I think Pacheco, Tristan Pacheco. We saw how good his long run was and how much he was able to hold on despite that tyres advantage. He was patient. He has, we think, 2 spare sets of tyres, unbelievably. We doubt he'll need to use both of them. But if this race does go green to the end, we're seeing how a lot of drivers are pushing right now. Pacheco's up in 5th. He has equal tyres to the rest of the field. And he might just be able to walk past at the end of the race.
Very true. I like that dark horse pick.
Walls is the one who has the most work to do. Again, if we look at tyre life here, 20 laps on those tyres. Tristan Maher, we think he's just waiting for, well, he's going to need a pair of cautions. One, to let him get some fresh tyres. But that's also going to cycle Ty Watermolen onto the lead lap, and then he needs another lucky dodge spot.
Yeah.
To get to the end of the race. I mean, Walls has, it's going to be able to do something, we think. He's going to be able to make it to the end. It's just a question of how much of those tyres can hurt Stephen Maggio. Similar story, not quite as dire for the number 51, but he's lost the track position. He had to take that wave around. Down in 8th place now. And after a great recovery drive from a lap down, he's had to do it again. He's have to work his way back through the field again. With just 55 laps to go. Let's go on board with Pacheco for a little bit. Let's have a look at what it takes to try and manage these tyres. Where it is, you see the wheel in the bottom left of your screen there. Try to be as smooth as possible, very little in the way of steering angle. And super patient on the throttle, almost wait until the restart zone to get back on the gas there in turn 4.
Yeah, it's very loose, you could tell, and doing a very good job of just managing that.
The slide there on that right rear tyre, you saw the little correction you had to make for it. And this is what let the number 8 go 80 laps leading up to that fire caution. Didn't get a meatball on the tyre, didn't run out of fuel. and was holding on decently, you know, comfortably on the lead lap, most importantly. Now let's see how the 09's driving this one. I'd imagine fairly smoothly. I think he's gotten where he wants to be. He knows there's a long way to go in this race, and he's not stretching his legs from the cars behind. Alex Kerfan's actually made a good run through and might be about to put a bit of a challenge on, but I think it looks pretty similar, honestly. I think it's in those very small things. Maybe a little bit early on the throttle there out of turn number 4, but it's hard to say. It could be sort of one lap to the next.
I think these drivers are hanging on for dear life. They got their tongues hanging out. I mean, this is a very hot track temperature, and that with a loose setup, you're going to have your hands full for the whole race, and that's why we've seen such a unique race, is the way I'll put it, with the way everything's been so topsy-turvy, but these guys are putting on a good show.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch, and with 50 laps to go, there's still plenty of time for not just the current strategy to unfold, but there could easily be a mistake. We've only had 3 cautions so far in this race, but a 4th one would likely put most of the field on fresh tyres for a bit of a sprint to the end here. It'll be disaster for Justin Durand, we think, but aside from that, we'd get to see some short run action, which no one's really had the opportunity to try and go for yet. Speaking of Durand, currently in the 7th spot here, and I think just, as well as just praying for this race to stay green, just try to be as smooth as possible in case he does have to race on old tyres for a restart later on. He's down just 3 seconds off the lead right now. And then everyone rinsing up out, not wanting to leave that optimal line at the bottom of the racetrack. You see now some drivers like that sort of second groove a little bit more. Getting through the mid-corner roll through rather than getting all the way down using the full width of the track, but no one's up on that high side. No one wants to get even close to those marbles.
No.
It's all about using that rubbered-in surface that's been laid down to try and just help out those good gears just that little bit. So Poland does get shuffled out a little bit. And he's going to lose the spot to Durand. And with that incident that brought out that last caution, it seemed like, barring a miracle in either side of the bracket, determined that our final next week at Darlington is going to be Mika Walls versus Cody McCorkle. That's going to be a hell of a one to watch here.
Yeah, that's I didn't even think about that one, that when Rivers had a crash there, but you're right, and it just goes to show how every lap matters, and you just don't turn off that TV set, because Rivers is having a great race, running inside the top 5. Cody was struggling a lot earlier into this race, and now he's running inside the top 10, just plugging away at it and doing a very good job. So he's going to put up a very good fight next week at Darlington.
Yeah, and reports from Jones about that incident said that the tyre was going down a little bit, which maybe why he couldn't get the performance he needed out of it onto pit road. So not sure if that was all the way down to a meatball or whether it was just in the sort of single digit percentages, which I've seen too many times in my time on the service. But
yeah, that'll feel like a flat tire, that's for sure.
And that's the tricky thing. It's basically impossible to practice a pit entry on a tire like that, because you're gonna get a full clean run in just to get that one attempt, and chances are you're gonna burn up a tire. The tire's making a pit entry at that point. You might end up making a mistake, and so you can't just roll through and try it again at that point. That's, a half-hour time investment just to practice something that might not even come up in the race. It's a tricky one. You have the chance to practice on fresh tires, but you've got to try and make that adjustment, just predict how it's going to be different. And it's so easy to miss that, especially a tricky pit road light Dovers. And it's
Yeah,
going
that's
to
not
Cody into the final.
Yeah, that's not something you can predict. It's that is such a tough situation, and I'm sure his tire was basically flat, almost in the meatball range, if not at it. And wow, that's because it looked like he was going slow. I was gonna say this and I forgot to. He was going slow, like really slow down the backstretch. So it's not like he wasn't backing up the pit entry. It's just he kind of had no control over his truck. It was like he had a flat tire.
And especially with 24 degrees of banking in the corner, it's not like you want to get down onto the apron on the backstretch and try and do all of the work there, because it'd be so easy to then just drift straight up onto that transition and spin your truck out. Like, there's definitely a level if you want to try and use the apron to your advantage on the pit entry. Then you've got to get down so far from there to pit road, and you just ended up basically a truck whip too far to the right. Now, inside 40 laps to go. I think a no-brainer for anyone who has a spare set. If there were a caution now, you'd take it. Unless you're, of course, trying to get a wave or something. But I think with Ty being in a lucky dog spot here, and Tristan maybe needing the fuel to get to the end, it's not really a strategy anyone would go for. Just got our top sits. I mean, top sits under 3 seconds between all of them, all on the same tire life. It's just all about what they're able to do on this long run, on this sort of projected 65 run to the finish. And right now it is William Kempf who still has that 7/10 lead, but you really can't tell at this phase of the race how much of it is true pace they've saved out the tire and how much is maybe they're over pushing now to compensate for a more worn tire, and that'll then spiral and really backfire in those final 10-15 laps.
It's these drivers are out of control every lap, off of 2, off of 4. It's a lot of fun to watch, and normally I'm pretty jealous. I'm not sure if I'm jealous this week if, in terms of being able to race or not, because I mean this is a very big workout, let's put it that way, and these drivers definitely have their hands full.
Yeah, we've heard that maybe the setup is tuned a little bit onto the right rear in this one, but to not forget as well, the camber's falling away from you by 15 degrees out of turn 2, out of turn 4. It's 9 degrees on the straightaways, 24 in those banked concrete corners. That is gonna unload the truck in weird ways, and it's gonna make that rear end very liable to get away from you.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where you got to take a very specific line to try and avoid that, and it's super hard to do lap in, lap out. So some laps you are just inevitably going to be hanging on for dear life.
Justin Durand is on the back of Potato. It's seeming like he's starting to fade a little bit from this top 4. We mentioned how long he was able to go on the tyres, but let's not forget he wasn't in the pack the same way that Walls was. Walls really struggling in this, didn't it? Seems like the
those
tire life.
Older tires, yeah.
I mean, maybe especially that green flag pit exit as well. He had to make that stop under green compared to where in the stage it was a caution and then a slow restart. Maybe he used up a lot of tire in those few laps, trying to get back through the field, get to 1 lap down, ultimately, which he did need to do. But it's meant that rather than slow rolling into a stint the way that he would want to do, he was full push from the moment he hit the cones, and he doesn't have the life left in this set of tyres anymore. He really needs that caution to do himself back into this race.
Yeah, Micah's turning point for sure was not pitting under that caution. That set off a complete tailspin for his race, and it's not over yet, but man, it just got him behind the 8 ball, and barring a caution, he won't be able to recover from that one decision that was basically a coin flip.
I mean, ultimately, he is joint second in points right now. He's going to have another good day. That's going to help him out a fair bit. He's going to leapfrog Justin Gore, who he was tied with. But the 0 in the wins column, I think it is hurting Ward. It's not really that representative of how his season's gone so far.
Very true.
Been there or thereabouts. Has it been the second places, I think, for the number 7 crew?
Yeah, one of them is my fault. Sorry, but yeah, it hasn't been from lack of pace or effort, and knowing him for so long, and I just know how much that eats at him so much. He just wants to. Oh my goodness!
Says the move there, P4 or P5, sorry, Durand to the inside of Christian Pacheco. I'm just going through the results, and it's been not just 3 second place, but 2 third places as well. He's been on the podium in his booth 5 times this season.
Very impressive. It's
he's doing a lot of himself in, no doubt, for the playoffs, but you want to have that momentum of a W to carry yourself forward, really.
Yeah, Justin Rand getting to the top 5 there. He kind of had enough of waiting behind the 8 truck. He made a pretty aggressive dive, but was able to kind of wash Christian up out of the groove a little bit and take that 5th spot.
We're into the final 25 laps of the race now. If there is a go time, we've got to be approaching it, surely. Top 3 separated by a 1.5 seconds less than Kemp, Kurf, and Jordensmeyer. The question is, how are they going to get the move done if they think they have the tyres to do it? It is a bit of a one-groove racetrack. You don't have quite a good tyre advantage to get someone on the high side, and you've got to wait for a mistake almost to get them away from that low line.
Yeah, it is. Catching is one thing, passing is another, and that's super true at this racetrack. You can catch someone here and end up going 3-4 tenths slower a lap just trying to make a move, and that also takes life out of your tires. And at this point, once you get to that 20-15 to go range, you got what you got in terms of, tire management. It's kind of just go time at that point. So this is if you got anything left in the tank, you better go take it now.
These top 3 running very consistently, all right around that 26-second mark for the last lap. This is where we saw that plateau in the tyre life during the early phase of this race as well. But I feel like there's that cliff that you can fall off as the tyres get towards the end of their life. And the question is, who is going to hit that point? Well, who's going to hit that point last, ideally, and who is maybe able to avoid it entirely? Jordensmeyer's found a little bit of pace last time, but he's managed to get back into the 25s, which is not easy to do on tyres this old. He's now within 1.2 of our racing in half a second of Alex Kerfen. But William Kemp's gamble to push early, get to the lead of the pack, and then work from there so far is paying off. 20 laps to go, and it's still the 0.9 leading this field.
Yeah, ran his own pace, was able to run his own line, clean air, optimal performance for his truck, and it's paying off in spades so far. And got to do this for about 19 more laps, and we'll be in victory lane.
Jordensmeyer is really starting to close in on Alex Kerfen. It's possible that if there is a challenge for William Kemp, it could come not from the 30, but from the 00, a Ford F-150 teammate. We'll see if that ends up coming true, of course, as we have, looks like one of our lap trucks, Stephen Thornton, I think, pulling down to pit lane. And a few of these that took a wave around in the last caution knew they didn't have the fuel to make it, but at the same time, they sort of just try to clock in as many laps as they can, get to the end. It'll cost him just the one spot to tie Watermelon, who had to be fair, make that stop just 5 laps ago. Tristan Maho, we were expecting 70 laps now. He's not going to be able to make it. He might fall behind Fidel Fabian, for example, for that 11th spot. The real juice is really found up here. Jonathan Jordensmeyer still closing in just 100th by 100th, really, on Alex Kirby. He gets well out of the way of Ty Watermelon there. Kerfen has to go high to do the same. That costs him a couple of tenths, actually. Jordensmeyer stayed locked to that low side, I think, and let Watermelon go up high. And this could be the opportunity. This could be go time now, potentially.
I think you're right about Jordensmeyer having a little bit in the tank, but he's going to have to start picking up tenths at a time, and it's definitely possible, especially if Kemp hits a cliff, but you're kind of relying on it at that point.
Yeah, further back, we do have Durand on the back of Nathan Fuller now, looking for that 4th spot. But Alex Kerfen's maybe starting to fade a little bit. It's now a second away from Kemp, and this is going to make Jordensmeyer's push a little bit more urgent if he thinks he does have the tyre to get there. He's looking for an opportunity right now. Kemp just found a 25 again out of those tyres, so he's maybe trying to take advantage of this fight behind and almost demoralise the two behind. So I've got plenty. Jordensmeyer's definitely getting held up. He goes to the low side here in turn 3. He might be able to straight up clear.
Yeah, cleared him, yeah.
4. I think maybe Kerfen going for a bit of a crossover, but also maybe going, I need to try and fend off Durand, who is currently battling with Nathan Fuller. Got to the inside. I remember just got past Pacheco maybe 10 or 20 laps ago. He's now battling Fuller. We think he's maybe got some of the fresher tyres in the field, but is 4 seconds back at this point. Jordensmeyer has gotten clear, but he's 1.2 back with 12 laps to go. How much does the 00 have in the tank? Durand will clear for 4th place. Fuller has a second back and 1 lap trip to defend from Christian Pacheco. Durand has some daylight. Jordensmeyer has a target looking forwards. And it'll be about what can he do with 12 laps to go in this race to try and get onto the back of William Kemp.
Man, I just want to say this with Kerfen. Obviously he wants to win, but the way his race started, a top 3, top 5 was probably a pipe dream in his brain. Like, wow, like there's no way I'm going to be able to get back up there. And now he's got that podium spot, and as long as his tires don't fall off a cliff, he should be able to keep that. And it's just a great comeback there.
Yeah, I think a little bit of it's maybe you play the odds. You say, well, if I try and fight this, I'm not going to have any chance to get into the leader. I mean, he's all the way up there. Maybe if I let Jordensmeyer go, maybe he gets there, maybe they tangle. That might be the last roll of the dice you have, and if not, ultimately, it's still a podium. I don't think anyone really loses as much sleep about finishing 2nd versus 3rd. It's more about the gap between 1st and 2nd that we know can be so painful. McCorkle's actually fallen 1 lap down here from our race leader. William Kemp managed to make that move pretty smoothly, to be honest. Now they have to be Jordensmeyer to deal with. But McCorkle comfortably in the lucky dodge spot by about 15 seconds. He's not going to be too worried about trying to fight these positions anymore. I just don't know if Jordensmeyer has the pace left in the tyres. We'll bring up the battle box. You see the lap times there. They are hundredths apart. It needs to be multiple tenths, really, at this phase of the race with a 1.2 second gap.
Yeah, he needs to eat in this lead, not hundreds here, a couple hundreds there, and they kind of just trade lap times back and forth, kind of fluctuates between this like 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 range. So that's not going to do it really, unless if William Kemp makes a mistake.
Yeah. Well, at the back, we do have this battle now for P5. Nathan Fuller being chased down by Christian Pacheco, who we knew was good late in the run on the tyres. It seemed like Nathan Fuller was maybe coming into a little bit of trouble. He's actually, I think, maybe getting held up a lot by Justin Rort here. He's going to try and get something done to maybe get a top 5 out of this race. A great showing until he started all the way on the back row of the grid. Down in P19. Ultimately, it is just going to be for 5th and 6th these two are fighting for. The top 4 all separated by more than a second each at this point. Kerfen not able to hold us. Actually, I think maybe the driver most at risk here, with Justin Duran staying in the 26.0s late in the run. Kerfen with a 26.3 last time by. Does have that lap trip to navigate. That might be part of the issue. McCorkle is going to go high. Going to bleed another 3/10 in that number 30. And you see Justin Durand only about 7/10 back. There's only 4 to go. Back to 3 at the line. I'm not sure how much this it'll matter. Tristan Maher does run out of fuel, has to make that pit stop. Slow car on the apron, luckily in control and not going to bring out a caution. Rand is now going to move through, and Mika Walls has a meatball flag.
Oh no!
3 laps to go. I think that might be all said and done on that right front tyre. Or maybe Steven Maggio also picks up a meatball. They're going to be able to bring this to the checker, I think, before the penalty comes in. But if you want to know how tough it is here in these conditions, we've not mentioned the track temp, but it is 128 Fahrenheit, and it has been basically all day. In fact, they are going to both make their pit stop, not take any risks here on a DQ. And as they do that, William Kemp is going to take the white flag. The race is going to be official. The gap is a second to Jonathan Jonesmeyer. Alex Kerfen has fallen off a cliff as well.
Oh, wow. He's got some right front damage. He might have caught the wall.
Might have. We'll try and catch that at the end of the race. He might fall behind Nathan Fuller, Christian Pacheco, but we've really got to focus on a fantastic run from William Kemp. Ended up on the right strategy, made some brave moves at the start of this stint, and he's going to take the checkered flag here at Dover.
Wow.
Pacheco gets moved on Kerfen. The 30 holds on for the top 5 against Nathan Fuller. It's going to be Levi Poland in 7th. Final trick on the lead lap. Then McCorkle, Maggio and Walls going to be almost racing for the end of that top 10. Just taking that pit stop. But let's give William Kemp his moment. First race win in the BSR AMSOIL Truck Series. And he is going to burn it down, and well deserved at that.
What a way to earn it. I mean, it's the absolute workout this race is. And
outsaves
everyone at the end.
That on the outside wall. I think he's going to burn this one until the engine gives up, and I don't blame him one bit. A fantastic run from the 09. Jordensmeyer ran the rest of your podium. And just before we get into our post-race interviews, let's have a look at that full finishing order here from Dover. It is going to be William Kemp by 1.1 seconds. Your winner over Jonathan Jonesmeyer in the 00. A late charge from Jonesmeyer, not quite going to be enough. And then Justin Durand finishes 3rd, 5.1 back. Christian Pacheco plays it patient, pits off not just the alien Alex Kerfen at the end, but also Nathan Fuller. who didn't finish behind 5th and 6th, and then Levi Poland finishes 7th at the end of the lead lap. Cody McCorkle made it through to the end 1 lap down, with Stephen Maggio and Mika Walls both forced to take last-minute tyre changes to get to the end. They'll finish 9th and 10th in this one. Ty Watermole and Fidel Fabian both going to finish 2 laps down, with Tristan Maher finishing 3 down again, having to take a late race stop maybe for a slash and dash for the 17 group. Stephen Thornton finishing 4 down. Christopher Smeltzer and David Durand ailing after incidents early in the race. Justin Rohr arrives late to the scene, pits for P17 for his effort. And then Rivers Jones, Jamie Wright, and Zach Probst, your 3 retirements from tonight's race. And then, of course, Andrew Davis as well. We had 20 starters plus 1 with Justin Rohr. And Andrew Davis just 3 laps completed in tonight's race. So, I think you've been around the lead for so long, you know how much this is going to mean. I'm going to give you the interview with our race winner, William Kemp.
William Kemp, this is JP up in the booth, and wow, your first career win, and I know how long you've been wanting this one, how hard you've been working at it. Just walk me through that last stage, really, and how tough it was out there.
Oh man, it was tough. I had a death grip on my steering wheel the last 40 or 60 laps, however that was. I was fastest in practice and qualified 5th, so I thought at least had a top 5 truck, but never imagined this would happen. As soon as I got out front, though, it just handled way different out there. I could just hold it on the bottom, didn't push at all. As long as I just kept it on the bottom, didn't lose the back end coming out of the turns, I don't know, just had it. This is awesome.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's a surprise, because that's not really fair to you, but you weren't necessarily one of the favorites coming into this, and now do you think this really busts you onto the scene and kind of gets you into some early championship talks maybe?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, now I'm locked into the playoffs after this. Before then, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it in or not. I was flipping back kind of. It's had an up and down season, it seemed like, this year, but this really helped a lot. Push it out. Hopefully I can make a push towards a championship run then here in a few months.
Before we let you go, the floor is yours. Shout outs.
Yeah, Tortoise Speed Racing. Levi, Nathan, and Brett. He's not here tonight. Shout out to them. Shout out to my Uncle Todd. He's going through surgery right now. He's not doing too well. Hopefully he can pull through and everything gets better on him too. And I got a buddy watching tonight, Vic. Shout out to him. That's about it.
All right, congratulations on your win. Go celebrate.
Yeah, I will do. Thanks.
And let's now go through the rest of our podium finishers. First of all, second place in tonight's race, Jonathan Jerdensmeyer. Talk us through that one. It was a long run to the finish there. How are those tires feeling right now?
They were feeling a lot better than other guys. I made the decision that I was gonna save my tires at the start of the run instead of push, because I thought that there was a good chance that I'd be able to catch William back, and thought I took good care of him. I got by Alex and Fuller pretty easily, but yeah, just too little too late. There's a lot of guys blowing tires by the end of the race, so I had a little sliver of hope, but yeah, it just wasn't enough at the end.
I had a very tricky strategy call all throughout. I believe you were one of the trucks that decided to pit for a fresh set immediately on that early stage 2 caution. So talk us through that decision. How tricky was it to make that call, knowing that you were going to end up leaving an extra set available to some of the drivers if another caution came out at a bad time?
I just the tire wear was pretty bad, so I thought that if it went green, that the tires would end up working out, and they did. And Micah not pitting was the reason that he lost the race. So, I mean, yeah, it was just I trusted everyone to keep it green. We didn't keep it exactly green, but we kept it green for the most part. So that extra tire set didn't end up actually mattering. But yeah.
Of course, your third podium on the season now, putting together a pretty strong campaign after a rough opening couple of weeks. How does this momentum really help you move forward going into tracks like Darlington to close out the regular season?
It feels pretty good. I'm not very good at Dover, so it feels nice to actually run well here. But yeah, it's just been a good couple tracks for me. Darlington, Watkins Glen, those are pretty good tracks for me too. So there's no winning you're in. I'd be a little more mad about William winning if there's winning you're in. But yeah, it's just a straight shot. So I think I'm pretty fine to make the playoffs.
Well, before I let you go, shout outs, sponsors, the floor's yours. Congratulations on another podium finish.
Shout out Rivers for hitting the pit barrels. It's the only reason I could have won. Shout out Micah. Shout out everyone in there. I definitely wasn't the fastest of our group. Steven and Micah were definitely faster than me, but they just got on the wrong side of strategy. But yeah, shout out those guys.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Yep.
And finally, one more driver to talk to in this one. Let's have a word with Justin Durand. Justin, I'll leave you in the JCTV booth, and another podium finish on your season, and up 15 positions from qualifying. Talk us through how that charge through the field was. So you were moving all the way from the start of the race.
It's just really tire conservation. This is probably one of the bigger cheese graters on the schedule, so I just kind of took it easy first couple laps, because that's kind of when you do the most damage to your tires early on. People were flying. I can tell I was just slowly chewing them back up as the run progressed. Real fun driving through the field. A lot of clean racing, guys. That was nice to see. But P3, I'll take that, but kind of feel like I probably should have had more about that yellow in the middle of the green flag pit cycle.
Yeah, and talk us through that, because the strategy was tricky, sort of very much between two options. And I think if I was counting this correctly, did you use all 5 of your tire sets there? Were you completely out at the end of that race?
Yeah, that last yellow, that was my last set. I mean, I didn't even pay attention to the pit road opening. I was on like 22-ish lap tires, and I was like, I have to pit, otherwise I'm going to get chewed up by the field. Luckily, it worked out, no yellows the rest of the way, so I was able to make up the ground, back up to third. Overall, good effort.
Yeah, and of course, a very strong campaign for you so far. A rough week last time at Texas, but a great way to bounce back to really solidify yourself in the top 5 of points, which puts you in a great stead for the rest of the season. How are you feeling about the remaining races to finish out the regular season? Darlington, Glen, Pocono, Atlanta. What are your thoughts on those?
I like Darlington, but I will not be there next week. I'll be actually down in Phoenix for real life racing. Go visit David as well. Glenn, everybody knows I don't like road courses. No surprise. Screw you, Cam. You should look forward to Pocono and Atlanta, though. Love Pocono, and then Atlanta's going to be a crapshoot. Hopefully I can keep the undefeated streak there. We'll see.
Well, sounds like a great way to spend next week. Have fun in the desert, and of course, before you go for that vacation, any shout-out sponsors, the floor's yours. Congratulations on another podium finish.
Just everybody who showed up tonight put on a pretty clean race. I don't think we had too many yellows, for instance, maybe 1 or 2, so that was nice to see. Shout out to the rest of the Radius team. Good run by Alex. Dr. Tristan made an error on pit road. And then obviously you guys have both sure look good on the broadcast.
Well, thank you, and we'll see you at Watkins Glen.
Thank you.
And with that, another round of the BSR AMSOIL Truck Series draws to a close. We'll be here same time next week for the mid-season bracket finale. Just 4 races during the regular season, but it's going to be extra stakes for Mika Walls and Cody McCorkle, who are going to race it out for glory at the Lady in Black. I want to say thank you so much to everyone for joining us here tonight, for the drivers putting on a great show and great green flag running. Of course, to my partner in crime for this one, Jonathan Parker. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing the booth, and we'll say so long, and we'll see you next week at Darlington.